The auto industry is getting a reprieve from tariffs. Sea ice is shrinking at the Earth's poles, and there's some big news from two internet-famous eagles. That's some of what we'll get to on the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Thursday, March 6th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Number 1. President Donald Trump agreed to a 1-month pause on some tariffs. This week, Trump's sweeping new levies against Mexico, Canada, and China went into effect. But yesterday, he agreed to a reprieve for certain automobile imports. The decision followed a phone conversation with executives from the big 3 automakers. Those are General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, which makes Jeeps. Each of those automakers has complex supply chains that cross North American borders multiple times before delivering a finished product. Along with disrupting those supply lines, industry groups said that Trump's tariffs would have increased the cost of a typical new car by more than $10,000. And the CEO of Ford has warned that that would give Asian and European car makers a distinct competitive advantage. But the U.S. industry's stay of execution may be brief. Trump has vowed to move ahead on April 2nd with even more tariffs. President Trump is preparing to sign an executive order that calls for the closure of the Education Department. That's number 2. The Post reported that a draft of this executive order was circulating yesterday. It could be signed as soon as today. The order would direct Trump's new education secretary, Linda McMahon, to work to shut down the department she now leads. McMahon has said previously that she may shift some of the agency's functions to other parts of the government. But the plan to close the department will be difficult to pull off. It would require approval from Congress with 60 yes votes in the Senate. That's unlikely to happen given that Republicans hold 53 seats. Meanwhile, the Department of Veterans Affairs is also facing a big shakeup. It announced plans yesterday to cut around 80,000 jobs. That's more than 15% of its employees and includes roughly 6,000 veterans. It's the latest move in President Trump's effort to slash the federal workforce. Number 3. The Trump administration moved to dismiss a lawsuit protecting emergency abortions. Idaho has one of the strictest abortion bans in the country. Its law prohibits all abortions except those necessary to prevent the death of the pregnant woman. But it does not make exceptions for medical emergencies that don't threaten a woman's life, but could lead to serious harms like organ failure or the loss of fertility. So back in 2022, the Biden administration filed a lawsuit. It was to require hospitals receiving government funds to perform emergency abortions to protect the health and not just the life of pregnant women. Since then, the high-profile case has bounced between courts, including the Supreme Court. But yesterday, the Justice Department filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. Last year, Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan noted that Idaho's ban had forced its largest emergency services provider to airlift pregnant women out of the state roughly every other week. Number 4. Israel outlined a plan to control all aid entering Gaza. International aid agencies were briefed by Israel last week and shared the details of the plan. It would entail Israel taking direct control of all humanitarian aid entering the Palestinian territory. It would also limit that aid to a single entry point, and it would institute a tracking system for its distribution. Many aid agencies said they were unlikely to cooperate with the plan. It would mean they'd have to shutter their own warehouses that they currently operate to distribute food, medical supplies, and other life-saving assistance to Gazans. It comes as the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is on the verge of collapse. On Sunday, Israel halted all aid to Gaza, and negotiations over the agreement's second phase are not underway. Global sea ice cover hit a record low last month. That's our fifth story. New research found that sea ice across the planet's polar regions reached an all-time minimum for February. The Arctic has been covered by less and less sea ice as the region warms at a faster rate than the rest of the planet. The melting has been fueled by warm oceans and above-average air temperatures. The loss of sea ice creates a feedback loop. As it melts, more of the sun's energy is absorbed by the ocean, warming it even further. That's harming communities and wildlife in the Arctic who depend on sea ice for hunting and getting around. By the middle of this century, scientists estimate that the Arctic could be essentially ice-free in the summertime. Number 6. 3 piglets mysteriously vanished from a controversial art exhibit. Marco Evaristi is an artist in Denmark who wanted to protest that country's pork industry. Denmark is one of the world's leading exporters of pork. So on Friday, he opened an exhibit titled, "And Now You Care?" It displayed 3 live piglets caged in shopping carts. His plan was to keep them there until they starved to death. As you can imagine, this sparked some outrage. Evaristi received death threats, a Danish politician called him a pervert, and an animal rights advocacy group said it reported him to the police. But by Saturday morning, the piglets were missing from the exhibit. It turned out that a member of Evaristi's own team had spirited them away to an animal welfare group. He had apparently gotten attached to the piglets and had been secretly feeding them. The 2 men have made up since the drama, and you'll be glad to hear the piglets are not only alive and well, but thriving. Number 7 is even better animal news. A pair of internet-famous bald eagles welcomed 2 chicks after years of trying. Jackie and Shadow are something of a celebrity couple in the eagle world. Their nest in California has been broadcast live daily to thousands of viewers. But for almost 3 years, none of their eggs have hatched. Then, on Monday night, their long wait was over. A chick with a light gray fuzzy coat emerged from one of their eggs. Hours later, a second chick greeted the world. Tens of thousands of people were watching the Nest camera video as Jackie and Shadow met their new hatchlings. Here's the sound of Jackie and Shadow squawking to each other, presumably in hopeful joy before their chicks hatched. That audio comes from the Friends of Big Bear Valley Eagle Cam. You can find a link to their live stream in our newsletter today. Find that in our show notes. You might just get a glimpse of the new babies. Congratulations to Jackie and Shadow. All right, you're all caught up. But before you go, a reminder that if you're a subscriber to The Washington Post, you can get access to our shows ad-free in Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is find the Washington Post channel in Apple Podcasts and connect your Post subscription. Then stay tuned for more subscriber-only audio benefits, like exclusive and early access episodes. If you're not a subscriber, this is a great time to start. You can sign up at our channel in Apple Podcasts or through the link in our show notes. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.